What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with the physique update of Vlad, who seems to be the smartest IFB pro when it comes to picking a show to earn his Olympia qualification. So this is a little more than 3 weeks out of his first show of the year, and that is gonna be Korea Pro, which is scheduled to be on the same weekend as California Pro. So I'm guessing all these guys from the New York, like Quentin Beastwat, Tony Burton, Beef Stew, they are gonna do Cali Pro, and the field is wide open for Korea Pro. For anyone who is competing at that show, specifically Vlad, to get that victory and earn his Olympia qualification. So other than Vlad, I haven't heard from a single guy who has made it official that he is in for Korea Pro. So guys in the US don't like to compete overseas. And one of the reasons is traveling time, traveling expenses, accommodation, and the stress of making food and some other factors that play a huge role in the picking process. Although this would be a very easy victory for a guy like John De Rosa, because a guy like John De Rosa who plays top 4 at the Empor Classic, he would just absolutely smash that lineup. But him and his coach Patrick have other plans, building up more size, more density, and then come back later during the year, maybe closer to the Olympia, and try to get his Olympia spot then. And honestly, to me, it did not really make any sense, because John could have won Detroit Pro, and then he could have went back to the drawing board and built up some mass. But it is what it is. But obviously, these guys know more than me, and probably they have a better plan. And also, it could have been a very easy show for some other guys who are doing this year's New York Pro, like Tony Burton, Beef Stew, Tim Budisham, and even for a guy like Good Vito. Now, as far as Vlad is concerned, I hope this time these updates, these pictures, they translate well on the stage. Because many of us thought that he's gonna give Andrea Presti a run for his money at Portugal Pro last year, and he ended up not even making top 5. Yes, he wasn't even able to make top 5 at that show. So Vlad is one of the most freakiest guys in the men's open bodybuilding right now. But the question is, can he do something about his symmetry, about his aesthetics? Can he do something about his waistline? Because that is something that gets exposed, especially in the comparisons, when he's standing next to some guys who have a better waistline than him. So Tim Budisham is also doing the New York Pro, and for a guy who has literally 0 chances of winning it, I really hope that he makes a smart decision and do Korea Pro instead of Cali Pro. Because Tony Burton is already confirmed for Cali Pro, and there is a very high likelihood that Quentin is also going to do Cali Pro. So Tim Budisham is going to have 10 times better chance of winning Korea Pro than beating Tony Burton or Quentin in Cali. And if I can remember correctly, Tim Budisham has beaten Vlad before. He certainly is going to show up with improvements. He has put in a lot of work in this offseason. But we have so many big names in the New York Pro that all the talk is going to be about Nick Walker, Quentin Beastwat, or Tony Burton. Another guy who could have done really well at Korea Pro is Moh Fooda. So in mid-April, he announced that he has picked up a show, and he looked extremely good for the starting point of his prep. So this guy also has an amazing structure. He is so complete top to bottom, front to back, and he is just one show away from putting many guys on notice. Even back in 2021, when Moh Fooda made his pro debut at Cali Pro, even in that show he looked absolutely spectacular, but he needed more size back then, and that was the feedback given to him by the judges. So the new version we saw in Romania Pro last year post-Olympia, that was very complete from every angle. Well, let's be real for a second. He won't be able to win Dubai Pro against a guy like Andrew Jack. Only a few bodybuilders on entire earth are gonna be able to beat Andrew Jack this year, especially if he is on. Not to mention, this is the first time since Andrew Jack turned pro he has been having a proper off-season, and he seems to be progressing at a very good pace right now. And a majority of the bodybuilding community thinks that this can be a game changer for Andrew Jack, because he was making improvements even when he was competing back to back. Even in that short window between the shows, he was making improvements. Because ever since he won his pro card, he competed at every single Olympia Classic, as well as Mr. Olympia, plus one more show to get his Olympia qualification. And he did not really have more than a few months of off-season to make the improvements in his physique that were necessary to make him an Olympia title contender. But this time he has had a proper off-season, and the progress pictures that we have seen from Andrew so far, he looks so impressive. So he was one of those guys who many thought could beat Big Ramy at his first ever Mr. Olympia. That was back in 2022. But he needed more thickness in his back as well as his sides, and he needed more hamstrings. And that has been the main area of focus throughout this offseason. So that Texas Pro version of Andrew Jack with some added thickness is gonna scare so many people this year. And who knows, he might be an Olympia title contender this year if he's able to do that. So talking about Dubai Pro, no news or confirmation from the former Mr. Olympia Brandon Curry regarding his attendance at this upcoming Dubai Pro. He was one of those guys who showed a lot of interest in doing one more show before the Olympia. Specifically, he mentioned Dubai Pro, and the reason was the prize money. And it could have been really great to watch him compete at his full potential. And it would have really made a lot of sense, because he trains in the auto gyms for a major part of the year. Because even a Brandon who was far off from 100% at this past Mr. Olympia, that was good enough to get 4th place in the world, and he was able to beat Andrew Jacked. So nobody expects him to have bigger or more separated quads. Brandon has been competing as a pro longer than everyone right now, including the 2 times Mr. Olympia, Big Ramy. So if he hasn't been able to improve his quads or hasn't been able to put on more size in his legs, it is because of his genetics. So he certainly won't be able to do that this late in his career. The good thing is Brandon, as a former Mr. Olympia, doesn't have to worry about his qualification, because as a former Mr. Olympia, he is qualified for life. So coming back to Moh Fooda, because this thread basically started with him, who is a young driven athlete and who is gonna enter his prime very soon. So what's surprising is that he has done only 2 pro shows so far and made a significant impact, and that is why a guy like Samson Dauda was so impressed with him at Romania Pro last year. So hopefully this year Fooda competes more and get to the Olympia stage. So if that happens, Empor will be coaching 3 athletes in the men's open bodybuilding: Hadi Chupan, Derek Lansford, and Moh Fooda. Chris Bumstead becoming a father and going for his 6th consecutive Mr. Olympia title, that have made some competitors believe that this might become a distraction for him, when in reality this might make him work harder than ever. This might motivate him even more than before, and he might present his best package to date. So he is 6 months out of the show, and he is looking really big and really lean right now. And this is what he plans to do for another couple of months. He is gonna keep on getting bigger while staying very lean and maintaining his abs throughout this phase. So last year's Mr. Olympia was a very good opportunity for a lot of these guys to dethrone Chris Bumstead, because he tore his lat like 10 weeks out of the show. But that structure that he has, and some of the shots, like his side chest, and the favorite classic pose, they are just way too dominant. Not to mention his front lat spread, which is like one of the best front lat spread of all time. So how many years does Chris Bumstead has left in him as an active IFB pro, as an active competitor? Well, this year and the year after this. He's turning 30 in 2025, and he has talked about this so many times, that he wants to retire at 30. And what a dominant career it would be if Chris Bumstead retires undefeated as a champion. And I think we all have to agree, the likelihood of that happening is really high. So let's end this video with the update of Andrea Presti as he gets ready to compete in Empor Classic Spain, which is now 6 weeks away. So he is one of the most underrated athletes in the men's open bodybuilding. And just because his legs are hidden here, that upper body is mind-blowing. Great V-taper, great abs development, and wide tapering lats. So Romania Pro last year was a very disappointing showing for him. He got beat by Horsemdi, he got beat by Moh Fooda, mainly because he lacked the balance between his upper and lower half. So Andrea Presti has been winning the Portugal Pro for the last 3 years, but this time he's gonna have a fierce competitor to beat there, William Bonac, who is also doing Portugal Pro. And even a Bonac far from his prime is enough to beat him. So Presti's legs have really improved from 1 year to the next, especially in the last 3 years. He is a much better bodybuilder right now compared to 2021. When he made his Olympia debut. So can he make the legs bigger up to a point where he can beat some big names this year? Well, we're gonna have to wait and see. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.